Anybody feel compelled to start? Oh,
So the major transformation that, well, we coach together with Lindsay and Kirk and me, but I'll just speak for myself, is when we met Lindsay, we'd been working with another coach, and that was fabulous, and we went to the top. We made $500,000 in our first live event. It was fabulous. And then we went into free fall, financial free fall. And we're going into the big black hole. I won't go into all the details. I have 5 minutes, but just know that that's what the situation was. And we met Lindsay, and the transformation was that she gave us financial sanity. It doesn't mean getting penny pitching or, you know, or miserly, but just financial sanity, meaning that we actually got a hold of our financial situation and were able to make sense of it and actually create a foundation onto which to build. And it was hard, not because the things she asked us to do were hard, but because there was so much, can you imagine, confusion in my mind. But what about this? And what about, well, don't worry about all that. Do this. And she kept redirecting, do this. But, and do this, Donnie. And in those moments at the beginning, it was only glimpses, was actually, I was able to focus on what she was saying and then do it. That's what led us into the financial sanity. And it has allowed us to breathe. You know, if I were to say, what is the transformation? I'm breathing now. And I'm actually able to hold a space in my financial world where I can, you know, but there's still challenges, but I can hold it, there is room, I can breathe, I can see possibilities, I can see ways, I feel like I have a master of my domain much more than I was before, based upon which to build. What I would tell myself, if I were to look at myself 2 years ago, would be to say to me, just do what she says. Lindsay breaks down everything into bite-sized chunks, into very doable, simple things that I was saying to Kirk the other day. A 12-year-old could do this. I mean, really, that's as hard as it is, but your stuff gets in the way. And one of Lindsay's gifts is to just keep focusing you in this very gentle but firm way, kind of like my yoga teacher. Do this. Keep doing. Keeps redirecting me back to what the correct asana is. So, and then over some time, I get it. And so that's what I would tell myself. Just do what she says. So, thank you very much.
I can jump in for a second if that's where my mind got. Because I can't let you guys be up here without saying things like, so Donnie, for you, like, what a miracle this year. Like, something has changed in you that really, I stand, like, it's a miracle. I've never been with someone through a process where it's been like, I mean, we've worked together for longer than a year, but it has been a year-long miracle, and I'm just so honored.
I'm usually not lacking in words, so I'm really just checking in with my heart. Part of working with Lindsay has been, as Donnie said, you know, we started at the top, and we didn't have a foundation. So we didn't have all the systems, the nuts and bolts, all of the entry points that were necessary for people to actually work with us at a multitude of levels. So unless somebody worked with us on a high level, there was nothing. And so that was great, and it missed all of these other opportunities that Spirit wanted to give us. So Lindy really has been a champion to us, a champion of helping us master our own finances, what's going out, what's coming in, and to give us systems and approaches to bring not only financial sanity, but I would say, you know, one of the pieces of work that Donnie and I teach comes out of an archetype called the peaceful warrior, one who's willing to know oneself, one who's willing to face one's fears. So we teach, you know, and we teach what we need to learn, right? So Lindsay has been able to hold us as peaceful warriors. but she also has been a peaceful warrior to us. And she keeps nudging us to look in those hidden places that we don't see ourselves, and uncover some things that there are times where she'll just say, okay, can we stop? And look at this, and what do you feel? So she's doing some of what we do with other people, but she's bringing the systems pieces and the nuts and bolts pieces and bringing it all together in a way that is very unique. I don't know anybody else who's doing the kind of work in the way she is, with the level of integrity. That's the other piece is Donnie and I've worked with a zillion people, and there are a lot of incredible coaches and mentors out there, and their life on the outside and their life on the inside and their life on stage and what they bring is not always congruent. And what I always count on is her congruence. And so for me, I want people in my life who not only see me and mirror back to me what I'm missing, but who are congruent in themselves so that they can guide me a little bit further. So that's the first part. The transformation, and a simple word would be, the transformation is you've been our rudder. You know, you have really been the rudder to our ship. So my heart is to say that. What I'd say to myself now is, I know I have big energy, and I belong on big stages and doing big things. And I also have a very tender heart. And she sees both my bigness and my tender heart. And so when I thought, what would I say to myself after, especially working with you, is a chant that we sing a lot, and it's simply, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. She can't do that.
Hi, I'm Sarah Shaw. So coming from having worked in the movie business for a long time and then having had a product line for a long time, I am a systematic freakazoid. So I kind of thought I knew how to do everything. And in those other worlds I do, but in getting my coaching business together, I clearly didn't. What Lindsay really brought to me was I'm full of ideas. I'm like an idea machine, but I didn't know how to look, how to take the temperature really of the people who were on my mailing list, clients, people I've worked with before. I just didn't even really, I thought I knew what they wanted, but I didn't really know what they wanted. So all the systems that Lindsay gave me, forced me to do, which I, kicking and screaming, hated it at first, but then the minute, there was really fear for me, but as soon as I got on the phone with that first client and asked them the questions that Lindsay helped me put together, there was like this, I don't know, felt like a hot shower. I mean, it was just like this amazing information that came out of these calls that I was doing. And my fear just totally went away when I realized that, I was going down a very wrong path, and that was not what anybody wanted to know about at all, but they wanted, basically like a left-hand turn, and I was going right. And, and she saved me, and, ended up making the event that I did a huge success, because I just didn't, the thing for me was I always felt like what Lindsay was maybe teaching or was going to teach me was going to force me to give something or like fake it or something like that, and that's just not me. And what I realized was that I was trying to force the issue of what I wanted to teach, but I didn't obviously everyone needed to learn the steps that I wanted to teach them. I just didn't know how to word it in the right way so that it connected with them. So what Lindsay did was teach me how to kind of muddle through all the words and the things that people told me in these interviews that I did with them and these conversations I had, so that I could speak to them in a language that they could understand, even though we were talking about the same thing. You know, it's like someone tells you, you know, what you're going to eat for dinner, and they might describe a plate of food, and you're like, that doesn't really sound that great, the way they described it, but then it shows up, and you're like, ooh, wow, give me a fork. And so that's what I felt like Lindsay, you know, showed me how to make people just devour the plate. And that was, it's an amazing tool and something that I, in turn, have turned around and used with my clients and teach them how to do a variation of that with their like store buyers and people like that, that really has helped them turn their businesses around in a way that just never occurred to me before, because I like to think I know everything. So, and really what, if I go back to your question about what I would have told myself, would have been to hire her prior to all of the other things that I did. If I could turn back the clock, I would have hired her 3 years ago. And really made things, you know, I just feel like I'd be in a different place than I am now. I love where I am now, but things, my business would obviously be different if I had started it with her 3 years ago.
Awesome. I love the plate. I'm going to use it for my marketing. It's so brilliant.
I'm Barbara Buckley, and when I think about what has changed for me most in the last year is that I have gotten clarity, real clarity about where I am, where I want to go. I've learned a lot. I trained with Kirk and Donnie about peaceful warrior and about being my own authority and being clear about my yeses and nos. But I was struggling with that in the business war end of things. I kind of gotten caught up in feeling like I was hanging around with a lot of wealth creation people, and I was looking for that possibility. And then I kind of got into when I had a gift, and I must, before I die, share this with as many millions of people as possible. And I must do this, and I must. And there's only this particular way to do it. And Lindsay, one of the things that's so amazing, I think, about Lindsay is that she has many extraordinary systems, as we've already seen, and extraordinary information to teach, but she's so able to be with the individuals who she's working with and help them get clearer. So, and for me, it actually turned out that I turned 70 this year, and I really didn't want to build a big business. And instead, I wanted to be aware of the messages and things that matter to me. I do love coaching, but I'm not about building a big coaching business. I love coaching the people that have come my way and I've made a difference in their lives. But I wasn't really about coaching, building the business to do that. There are other things that I've done in the last year as a result of being free, really. Freed up to be who I am at this moment in time, that have made such an extraordinary difference to me and to other people. I decided that instead of hiding under a rock when I was turning 70, that I was going to be extravagant and public about it. And so there probably is a thing about shame in that. We'll be talking about shame on Sunday. But I think there might have been some shame about 70. But instead, I was at this place of confidence and freedom, and I started to really celebrate being 70. I had a multiple number of birthday parties, which were also fundraisers for an orphanage that I was going to be visiting this summer in Africa. And then the trip to Africa turned out to be a trip around the world, something that I'd always wanted to do. And I just had amazing opportunities to step into a variety of cultures, experience all kinds of wonderful things, including paying attention to the passion that's in my heart, really, about living authentically and about getting rid of shame. And it was fascinating, actually, to pay attention to where shame lived in different parts of the world, in people in different parts of the world. So all of that really kind of continued for me, but in a way that I think when I started coaching with Lindsay, I think I got
well, she's going to help me get through this stuff so that I can finally have the $1 million coaching business or whatever it is that I'm supposed to have. And instead, it was really a matter of finding me where I am right now in a truly beautiful way, and I am so grateful for that. If I could look back to a year and a half ago, or whenever I started this process, I guess, and speak to myself then, I guess I would say, it would be just, the answers are there for you, just get going.
Wow, this is it's amazing. My name is Rodney Washington, and a year ago when I've known Lindsay for 2 years. I met Lindsay in this room. Almost 2.5 years ago, Barbara, I met all of these amazing, with the exception of Sarah, I met in this room. So this is like a really big full circle moment for me to be in this room, in this position, in this place today, sharing my piece of all of this. I've always had some kind of a side business or a side way to make money. I've always had jobs, sometimes 2 jobs, and I've had 2 jobs and something going on. And in my opinion, I always felt that because someone has said yes to your service and they're paying you money for it, that means you have a business. Okay? And that's what I thought when I met Lindsay last year, is what I wanted her to help me to increase. What I didn't realize, that what I was really wanting at a soul level that I didn't get at the moment, was to be taught how to be an entrepreneur. I thought I just wanted to get more clients, I wanted to get more money, and this was just my focus, and that was my thing. And as long as I could find someone that would be willing to say yes to that and give me that, I am a business owner. And then you get older and things go, you go through more stuff and you learn more things and you realize, you know, it's not just about the money. I can always find a way to get money. Being an entrepreneur is so much bigger than all of that. You start what you think is the business, thinking it's going to be the thing that you're selling, and actually it's the beginning of the path to grow you. It's the fastest, so I've heard this said many times, it's the God's honest truth, it's the most challenging self-improvement course you'll ever take, because, excuse my French, it'll pull up all of your shit. And there's nowhere to go with it. There's nowhere to go with it. And you know, you think, well, you know, I've got this thing and I'm good at it, and I'll just go out there and tell somebody about it. They're just going to turn around and buy it, you know, and then you think that, and then it doesn't happen that way. And then I'm like, well, what the hell do you mean? Why aren't they buying it? And then Lindsay and I are having these deep discussions where I know she's told me things 5,000 times, and I'm not hearing it. Because I'm coming into it with the mind that I have, that I know how it's supposed to go. And I know on the other end of the phone, I know she's like banging her head against the desk like, why isn't he here anymore? And we got to the place where we would just laugh. We would cry because she's like, oh my God, I love you. And you know, and there would be times I would say, well, I'm glad you're loving me because I'm not really feeling you right now. But I knew that it was a part of the process that I had to go through. And so I can say that she's given me the foundational tools over the last year to go from being a person looking for a gig to becoming a person who is growing into becoming an entrepreneur. And the things I hear myself, I just said this at lunch to her today, I hear myself now saying to my clients the things that I hear her say to me. The things that she says to me, that she says, I told you that, that's on DVD number 11, and I'm like, well, you didn't tell me that. She's like, yes, I did. I find myself, so it's getting in, but it's more than just receiving information. It's about taking information and totally embodying it and getting clear with it at a cellular level that actually where you begin to grow. So for me, I feel like I signed up for a freshman level course and got thrown to a master's program in a year's time. And did I always do it perfect? No. But I'm far better off than I was a year ago. And I only know that with the foundation I have now, I'll go further. So, thank you.
What did you tell yourself last year? I want to hear the kitten story.
Well, at the time when I had just come from another event, like a week or so prior to going to Lindsay's event, and I was already familiar with her and her work, and we had been in other I'd been in a program of hers. But there were certain things in my business I wanted to do, and I was looking for a coach. I was in that place where I was looking for that teacher, if you will. And I didn't go there with the thinking I'm going to buy something today. I was going to go and I was going to listen, whatever. And literally, when she handed out the forms, I didn't look at it. I just kind of got quiet, asked Source, what am I supposed to do with this right now? And it said pick the middle program, and I filled it out. And I didn't read what it was. She was up there talking about all the details of it. I wasn't paying attention. And at the end of it, I told her, I said, you could have been selling a basket of kittens and I'd have bought it, and I don't really like cats. I said, because in that moment, I knew that I was supposed to work with you. You were the person I was supposed to be with. So I just gave her the form and I said, I'm trusting you to guide me where I need to go. And I left it at that. And I didn't really do much more about it. And it's been an amazing journey. So, yeah.
I love you guys. It's so, like, I said to them earlier today that in my life, I'm always the person who stood up and, like, championed other people and said great things about other people, or had to say great things about myself. And I've never had people stand up and say great things, so this is a stretch. But I love you all so much. I'm so grateful to have you. I'll let you guys go sit down. Let's hear it for them. Was it helpful to hear some of the things they had to say? Is it helpful to hear people who are afraid, people who don't want $1 million business? It's helpful to me.